insightful portion last month where we talk about, I was just playing the clip before the session started. We convene every month to expand our knowledge and gain more insights across more African countries in real estate development, and also as well as real estate related business management. I will have the honor and privilege to have a direct conversation with our other invited guests from Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya. Mind you, I can see Dr. Pragasan Chetty from South Africa. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you for being part of us in this discussion again. Mr. Chetty was one of our panelists on innovation about 2 months ago. So, quick one, before we start the conversation, Mr. Kelvin from Kenya will be giving us 15 minutes presentation on the theme of the day. The theme of the day is very important because there was a scary data about informality in African real estate. The World Bank says that 90% of the rural land in Africa are undocumented. 90%. So if 90% of our rural land in Africa, that means it's a serious issue and serious challenges for our rural dwellers, which even agricultural sector will experience high capital tie down. So today, we will talk about how we can unlock these capitals for Africa development. As usual, we used to have maximum cooperation. The essence is not by number, it's by the knowledge improvement. So I plead for your maximum support and cooperation while Mr. Kelvin is from South Africa, and he is also an expert and a voice to reckon with in what he does. So, Mr. Kelvin, thank you very much for coming. You will be having the virtual podium to make your presentation. Thank you very much.
And if you could allow me to share my screen, I have a very short presentation to make. Kevin Sanya from Kenya, not South Africa. But yeah, glad to be here. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for the time. Like I said, my name is Kevin Sanya. I am from Kenya and not South Africa, and it's a real pleasure to be part of this very important conversation on the future of real estate in Africa. I've spent most of my years, close to 9 years, working in Kenya's real estate and financial services sector with hands-on experience across property management, investment analysis, and development of strategy. However, currently I'm based in Sweden, where I'm pursuing my master's in urban business and development with a focus on real estate and transport as a Swedish institute scholar. At the heart of my work is a deep passion for cities and Africa in general, and how we can shape them, how people live in them, how we can build better housing infrastructure, markets, and social services that support inclusive urban growth. These are not just real estate issues, they also remain key human development issues. So, however, although I'm, as I said, I'm based in Europe, Africa remains very much at the center of my academic and professional lens. I've been closely following the trends across sub-Saharan Africa, and today I'm excited to share some insights on Kenya's evolving real estate landscape, maybe a bit of microeconomic shifts to sector-specific performance, and maybe the role of institutional frameworks in driving sustainable urbanization. So I will run through the presentation, and then I can take the questions at the end. So that's just a bit of the introduction that I've said. Now, at this slide, I want to present a bit of the micro trends. Macro and urbanization statistics, which are key drivers not only in Kenya, but also in Africa at large. If you look at the growth statistics, at between 5 to new growing in the next couple of years, over 16%. And there's a lot of urban migration. And again, as I said, these statistics not only reflect Kenya, but sub-Saharan Africa and Africa at large. So it is really important across so that we can be able to really contribute to our GDP and also address the urban migration and the economic growth that is bound to happen. So if you look at the residential real estate outlook, basically in Kenya, there's a big housing demand that has not been adequately supplied. Statistics show that there's over 250,000 units demanded every year. However, we've only been able to deliver 50,000 units per year as supply. Government, of course, is really trying hard to support this through the affordable housing program that is targeting around 500,000 units. They are still short of that target, but there's still work that is going on. And we've seen a lot of traction that is going on in Nairobi and the satellite cities in Kenya. There are emerging hubs that are coming up because of rural urban migration. And for the Kenyans who are on this call, they would clearly see that areas like Ruiru, Thika, Kitengela, Mombasa Road have really grown up as emerging hubs. I'd also like to share indicative rental yields, which are key for investors who are maybe on this call for Kenya specifically. Apartments, middle and high-end apartments would yield between 5.5 to 6.5 returns in peri-urban zones. Why did I put affordable housing here? Because it's not just the government initiative to do that. Private sector players are also doing it. And there's a big gap there that we can jump into once a lot of formalization of the processes have been dealt with, which I will touch on a bit later on in the presentation. Commercial and office real estate, there's demand stabilizing. Post-pandemic, hybrid work has influenced space planning. Many developers are creative in the way they design their offices to accommodate both hybrid and in-person workstations. There are prime zones that are coming up and are really developing very fast. Areas like Westlands, Upper Hill, Gigiri, and a bit of Mombasa Road are coming up as prime commercial and office real estate zones. There is a new trend also of serviced offices and co-working space that are really gaining traction. Of course, this came up post-COVID. Indicative yields in this sector, you're looking at grade A office spaces between 7 to 8.5% per annum, and retail and mixed use office space at 8.5 to 10.2% per annum. Logistics, warehousing, and light industrial are also very key areas that are really growing in Kenya, Nairobi, and the satellite cities. There's demand drivers like e-commerce and regional trade. The standard gauge railway that started from Mombasa to Nairobi, and the government is committed to extending it all the way to Kisumu to Malaba, the Uganda border. So this will even create cross-border demand for housing with our Uganda and Rwandan counterparts who are also on this call. There's also emerging industrial parks that are coming up, Athi River, Tatu City, Naivasha, the Northlands, the dry port, just to mention a few. So it's also an emerging opportunity. And we have a lot of land, as UNISA started by opening. We have a lot of land, a lot of undocumented land at very strategic places that if they tap into these growth zones, then they can really get good return on investments. Indicative yields for logistics, warehousing, and light industrial, you're looking at 8 to 12% on industrial and logistics, and land appreciation in special economic zones are 10 to 20% annually. So there's a lot of companies that are doing land banking, properly set companies that you can vouch for and invest your money with. One of these companies is Fusion Estates, where I work worked with. They are developing big master plan communities in the satellite towns of Nairobi. Master plan cities, I have mentioned a few examples. There's Konza Technopolis, Tatu City. Konza Technopolis is a flagship project by the government of Kenya. It's a special economic zone, 5,000 acres, and 75% of the plots have been committed. And there's still a lot of interest that is going on there. There's a lot of infrastructure that has been developed in that area as well. There's Tatu City, a private SEZ, that tells you that also the private sector players are really jumping on the opportunities for the growth. Institutional frameworks need to be looked into to attract global players. And when such master plan communities and SEZ comes up, then you definitely would want to provide social amenities such as schools. You'd want to provide retail centers, and also as more and more international players come into the market, then there'll be demand for more embassies also to be built in these areas. Global relocation and demand drivers. I think for those of you who are in Kenya and Africa in general, I know you've heard about the shift of some of the United Nations offices, especially United Nations Women and another arm of United Nations, moving from the New York to Nairobi, moving from Geneva to Nairobi. These create opportunities for real estate as well, not only in Nairobi, Kenya, but also in the East Africa and the African real estate space in general. So there'll be diplomatic demand for proper housing, because these people are coming from first world countries. They would want houses that match where they're coming from. We have stock in our countries. We need to showcase more and more of that and provide more and more of that. Areas such as Runda, Gigiri, the Westlands area would be really key areas to look into. There's the tech ecosystem also that is really driving global relocations for big companies such as Google, Microsoft, IBM, that have set offices in the East African region. And this also fuels co-living and office innovations to provide for these multinationals. And finally, Kenya is a tourist hub as well. Tourist has rebounded in the past couple of years. So this again will drive a demand for resorts, ecologies, and serviced villas. Like I mentioned, these investment yields, I will just recap quickly. Prime residential, you're looking at 5 to 8%, affordable housing, 6 to 10%, grade A office space, 7 to 8.5%, retail shopping malls, 8.5 to 10.2%, industrial and logistics, you're looking at 8 to 12%. Land banking, 10 to 20% on annual appreciation. And this is where the big opportunity lies. And that's why we're having this webinar. There's a lot of undocumented land. And if it is properly documented and put up in the markets, then you're looking at yields of between 10 to 20%. There's coastal holiday rental because of tourism, which again yields between 15 to 25%. Challenges and institutional gaps that we are here to address on this webinar. You're looking at construction costs. They've been going up. These high costs and supply chain risks as well are related to construction costs, financing limitations. There's a very low mortgage penetration. So if there are any bankers are on this call, there's a big opportunity. And now Kenya Mortgage Refinancing Company has come in to offer mortgages with partner banks at single digits. So this is just to increase the mortgage penetration. Planning and titles, again, there's a lot of undocumented land. There's land that have titles, but because of old planning laws, they have an untapped potential. So there's need to look into that. Delays and clear land titles, special plans deficit at county level. These are areas that needs to be looked into. And other key needs are digitization, which again, Kenya is at the forefront of digitizing the land registry. And I believe Africa Other countries are also following suit. The rates framework, real estate investment trusts are coming up really strongly as areas of additional opportunities. PPPs are also areas of really great opportunity that we can look into. That is public-private partnerships because of the mega infrastructure projects and real estate projects that are coming to Africa because of the demand that I earlier alluded to. Finally, key takeaways that I would like you to take home and really digest more on, and we can engage further on the call, is formalization. I would be keen to understand at which stages the other countries represented on this call are at. It's essential for Kenya's urban future, so we need to formalize our real estate. There are investment opportunities that we can tap into: strategic housing, logistics, commercial, tourism, SEZ, and institutional capital requires regulatory certainty, transparency, and strong governance. So call to action. Kenya has a chance to lead East Africa in transitioning to formally inclusive and investment-ready real estate markets. And that is why we're having this call today to discuss more of that. So thank you so much for listening in, and apologies again for the background noise. Like I said, I'm taking the call from a public place in the airport. So, but I'm happy to pick any questions that you may have. Thank you so much. Over to you, back moderator.
Okay, Mr. Kevin, thank you very much. I love how you touch the problem, and at the end of the day, you recommend solutions for us in Africa. And also, I love when you reinforce my data, that the World Bank data that says 90% of African lands are undocumented. Thank you very much once more. I really understand the position you are in right now. You are about to catch a flight in the next 20 minutes. So I'll try as much as possible to deal with you so that you can focus on your flight. Is there anybody that have any question for Mr. Kelvin on the team discussion before we move to the panel? Anybody with any question based on the presentation he made? If you have questions, you can kindly indicate. We can just take like 2 questions, then we move to the next section. You can indicate so that I give you room to ask your question. Question. Further clarification from anybody? Okay, in absence of any question from the audience, I have a question for you, Mr. Kelvin. What is the specific effort the Kenyan government presently is making to reduce this informality? What is the current effort they are making to reduce informality in real estate ownership?
Yeah, I think there are quite a number of efforts that have been taken up by the government with even the former regimes that are trying to really document all undocumented land in Kenya. And also there is the digitization of the lands registry that is going on. We have seen the former president, the current president, issuing title deeds for local communities that from time immemorial have haven't had documentation to their land, and we've actually seen proper impact on these communities because now they are able to invest, they're able to secure credit because now their lands have been documented. So mainly, government has been planning and looking into these areas that have undocumented titles and have been issuing them. And also there's the digitization process that has been going on in many of the registries in the country.
Thank you very much. You made one very interesting point: digitalization and even government support, government leading the cause. Because when the villagers have title documents to their properties, they can easily unlock access to finances. I love that very well, and kudos to your government. Also, during your presentation, you highlighted that real estate and construction industry contributed about 16% to the GDP of your country. Do you think that this effort from informal to institutionalization can unlock more finances to the GDP?
Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed. And like I also highlighted, in the presentation, there's a huge rural-urban migration in Africa. The population is by 2050, 80% of the Africans will be living in urban centers. These people will need housing. These people will need markets. These people will need proper infrastructure. So, if this is provided and this economy is housed and really serviced properly, then the numbers will really move from 16% upwards. As I said, that's a very big contributor to GDP. So if the indicators move towards the better, then definitely also that rate contribution of real estate to GDP will definitely improve.